Let me help you understand the details of the FORTNITE ban and FORTNITE's lawsuit against Apple. Hey creator, I'm Corzine, your social media lawyer. Yesterday, FORTNITE's software developer Epic Games sued Apple for maintaining an illegal monopoly. An illegal monopoly is when one company corners the market on a given product or service and then they commit misconduct to be able to maintain that hold on the good or service. In FORTNITE's lawsuit against Apple, FORTNITE says that Apple maintains an illegal monopoly over the iPhone app and iPhone app payment systems. They say this because in order to develop for iPhone and iOS, as an app developer, you have to pay 30% of anything that you recover from your app to Apple. Additionally, if you have in-app purchases, 30% of those in-app purchases have to go to Apple. And the other thing is, if you develop for iOS and iPhone, then you have to distribute your application through the App Store. There is no other arrangement that you can agree upon. It is actually in the terms of service between you and Apple as an app developer that you must agree that you release any of your apps through the App Store. FORTNITE says that the App Store system is an illegal monopoly because that 30% fee is way too high, and developers who want to sell their product to the 1 billion iPhone users have to go through the App Store. There's no other recourse. FORTNITE says that the App Store system reduces innovation because there are a lot of developers out there who would like to develop for the iPhone, but they don't want to pay the 30% fee. And as a result, there are less and less apps available for consumers. So that deprives consumers of something in the market that would really benefit them. FORTNITE also says that this kind of configuration that Apple has increased consumer costs. There is no competition that Apple allows for app payment systems. You can't bring in PayPal or another payment system. Epic Games has their own payment system. They can't use that if they want to have their FORTNITE game on the App Store. And so as a result, the consumer has to pay that 30% fee, which is passed down by the app developers. And there's no ability for the consumer to pay less because there's no competition. And finally, FORTNITE says that Apple is this middleman, this needless middleman between the consumers and the app developers, and it's taking its cut, but providing no value for that. Ultimately, I believe that the allegations of FORTNITE's lawsuit against Apple for maintaining an illegal monopoly, they will fail. And the reason for this is I don't believe that Apple's system falls within the legal definition of a monopoly. And why is that? Because they haven't totally cornered the market on a given product or service. It's not like the situation back in the 1980s when AT&T was broken up. Back then, basically, if you wanted to have telephone service in America, you had to go through AT&T. That was a given product or service, and in that case, it was telephone service. If you wanted to have it, you had to go through AT&T, and as a result, AT&T was broken up. In this situation, it's totally different. Apple does not sell access to a given product or service. If you want a cell phone, you don't have to go through Apple. You can go through Android and Samsung and Google. All the different brands can give you access to a cell phone. Additionally, if you want to have a mobile app or your mobile app game or something, you don't have to go through Apple. There's a lot of different places where you can get access to mobile apps. So Apple has not entirely cornered the market on mobile apps or mobile phones for that matter, and so as a result, they don't constitute a monopoly. And with specific reference to FORTNITE, you have to remember that FORTNITE is a game that's not a mobile-only app. You can play it on a desktop, you can play it on a video game console, and Apple does not have control of this. So as a result, they can't possibly have a monopoly over FORTNITE, let alone apps in their app store. And I'm not a shill for Apple. I don't want to pay the 30% fee when I go to the app store. However, I have to look at this objectively. And if you look at this objectively, the fee is not totally unjustified. Apple has told us they spend lots of time and money making sure that the apps that are in the App Store actually work and are not hackable. So Apple at least has some basis for charging that 30% fee, and I don't see that it's unreasonable. And when FORTNITE makes their arguments about app developers, you have to also remember that app developers are not beholden to Apple. There are a variety of contexts that they can design and code for. So they can, if they don't like Apple, they don't like the 30% fee, they don't have to do iOS apps. They can do apps only for Android or video game consoles. You wanna know what I think? I think that FORTNITE's lawsuit against Apple is just just a strategic negotiating tactic. I think that they planned it all out. If you look at the complaint that they filed yesterday, there is explicit reference to August 13th, and that is the day where Fortnite tried to sneak in their payment system into the iOS app for Fortnite. They planned it, they knew what they were doing, and I think what they really want to do is I think they want to negotiate that fee. They want to go down from 30% to, like, say 15%. I think they know that in the future they're going to be coming out with more and more apps related to Fortnite and maybe not related to Fortnite, and they want to make sure that they make as much money as possible, and as a result, they want to negotiate that fee. I will tell you this, that there is precedent for Apple negotiating their fee. You may remember that when Apple wanted Amazon Prime on its Apple TV, they negotiated that developer's fee, I think, to 15%. So there is some history of Apple doing a little bit of negotiations with their developer fees, and I think that Fortnite and Epic Games want that. So I think this lawsuit by Fortnite is a tactic. It's not gonna see the inside of a courtroom. It's not gonna go before a judge or a jury. It's gonna be settled out of court for an amount negotiated on that developer's fee. I don't know what that will be. There may be a confidentiality clause that will prevent us from ever knowing if there is, but I do think Fortnite is trying to get a seat at the negotiating table with Apple, which is difficult to do. And they feel like this is the best way to do that. Bring this lawsuit. Again, it doesn't even seek damages, no money damages. They just want the judge to force Apple to reduce its fees or somehow structure the transaction so that app developers can have their own payment systems or use outside payment systems and not have to go through Apple's system. Speaking of tactics, have you seen President Trump's recent tweet in which he says he may delay the US election? The question for you all is, can President Trump actually delay the US election? If you want to find out the answer, watch my video right there. And as always, as you watch, I'm going to be at iancorzine.com to answer any I'm going to be at iancorzine.com to answer any social media law questions you have.